welcome to today's episode of Linking In with Louise. And today I have a very lovely guest on with me called Amanda Webb. Amanda is the owner of Spider Working, and if you're like my 10-year-old son, you may have already made the connection between Spider Working and Amanda Webb. Amanda helps people with digital marketing strategy. So Amanda, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is great.
Well,
thank you.
I think you're being very conscientious because we are both inside and it's a very warm, sunny day, which is so rare in this country that we're very dedicated. So Amanda, tell everybody who's listening a little bit about yourself, what your business does and who your typical clients would be.
So let's start with my clients because I think that's always the most interesting bit. I know there's a lot of people out there that would feel this way as well, that they'd be doing a lot of digital marketing bits and pieces. Maybe they're doing a lot of social media. They're doing all the social media, all of it. And they're doing email marketing and they've got their website and it takes an awful lot of time. And I think when you're in that position, you have I call him the content gremlin, a guy that kind of sits on your shoulder and just keeps telling you that you're wasting your time. Persistently. And I know that's happened to me in the past. And it's this is kind of, surely I should be, is this a waste of time? Am I just fiddling around with the internet? And so that's where I come in. I come in with people who've got all those bits and pieces up and running, and I help them put that together into a sales driven strategy. So they know that everything that they're doing online is driving towards that end goal. So it can be hard to do when you're in it yourself because there's so much going on. So a lot of the time it's me telling people to quit doing things rather than telling them to do new things. And that's it. We streamline their process so that they make sales and they get rid of the content gremlin. They never have the worry that they're wasting time again.
That's so interesting because I was on a call this morning and one of the people on the call was just talking about there's so many things going on and it's so busy and hectic. And I thought, why are you doing all of these things? I mean, it's exhausting. But I love how you say, Amanda, it's about sales. The strategy has got to lead to sales.
We're in business, right? That's the whole point. And I think you can lose track of that sometimes. You can stop chasing the money. And if you're not I'm not wanting to be a millionaire. That's never been my plan. But I still need to make my wage at the end of every month, and I need to get a certain amount of sales for that. And every business has at least that to do. Sometimes they need to make other people's wages as well. So everything needs to be, without every post being, hey, want to buy this thing? Everything needs to be focused on a streamlined process for getting the sale out of what you're doing.
Yes, love it. So how did you get into this, Amanda? Take us back to, say, I don't know, when you started your career. You weren't doing this always.
No, I used to work in the Irish film business. Since I was a kid, I've been obsessed with what we would have called media then. I wanted to be on the TV. I wanted to run a radio show. I had a hospital radio show when I was 15.
Oh, stop. Put the brakes on. Pardon. That's the kind of thing I used to read about in books. I read voraciously. I read all the time. And people say, I was in the hospital radio. I'm like, that's what I want to do that. How did you end up doing that at 15?
Because my mother was very helpful. At the time when I was a stroppy teenager, I may not have given her credit for that, but she was always pushing me into doing things. So she organised me going to volunteer at the hospital radio station. And I used to work on a bingo show. So basically we'd go around the wards and give out bingo tickets to anyone that was listening. And then he'd call the bingo live and then we go down and find the winner and give them the prize.
I want to do that now as a job.
It was so much fun. It was really good fun. And I think somebody must have left. We still did the bingo show, but I think either the person before or after the bingo show must have left. And also the guy who did, because I was into heavy metal then, just don't even.
Really?
The guy who did the heavy metal show also left. So it was a different shop, but I did the heavy metal show and it was called Amanda's Metal Days.
Right. So
as in DAZE.
When you were in hospital and you had a broken leg or something more serious and you were tuning into hospital radio and some of the options were to listen to heavy metal.
Yeah, just for an hour each week. And yeah, it was very restricted what I could play though, because you had to obviously stay away from certain topics that wouldn't go down well in a hospital. And a lot of heavy metal is about, the devil. And so we had to be quite selective on what we played. And one time I played Stone Deaf Forever. And one of the people in charge of that radio station thought it sounded like Stone Dead Forever. So I wasn't allowed to play that anymore.
Oh my goodness.
So it was quite restricted. But also they were going, you get a lot of bikers in hospital.
Well, of course, yeah.
So they enjoyed my show.
You probably had a little fan club. What was we're totally going down a rabbit hole here, but I love this kind of stuff. What was the most popular track on your show, do you think?
I don't know. So I was into, at the time, I never really liked Bon Jovi. I was into Def Leppard. So it was kind of like on the rock side of heavy metal. It wasn't like hardcore. I wasn't playing, I can't even think, I wasn't playing Slayer. I wasn't even playing Metallica, really. Oh, so Motorhead would have been the heaviest music I played. Cool. But mostly it was kind of on the poppy side. So yeah, Def Leppard, and then stuff like Dio and White Snake.
Oh yeah, I remember them.
Yeah.
We fell into YouTube. At the weekend, you've watched a movie and you're not quite ready to go to bed, and you go to, well, maybe this is just us, you go to YouTube and you start watching music videos. And I'm such a Bruce Springsteen fan, and my husband's like, look, I love Bruce Springsteen too, but can we watch something else? And we had a whole Def Leppard, White Snake, Extreme evening a couple of and it was so much fun. It was really good fun.
It is, and it's so kind of 80s, isn't it? It's so 80s. I was in love with the drummer who only had one arm.
Oh, I remember. Yes, I remember.
His name was Rick something. I've forgotten his second name. Forgotten my first love already.
Oh dear. Okay, so anyway, moving on from the hospital radio.
So yeah, I was obsessed with the media. So I tried various different things. I did A-level in film studies and communication studies. And then I went and did an HND in design communication, but basically we had a TV studio.
Right.
And we used to do live. So people asked me when I did my first live broadcast, it was in the early 90s. Uh-huh. So we used to broadcast live to Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce commissioned like the college to do their live corporate broadcasts. Oh, wow. So they used to like park up a big van with a satellite dish on top outside our studio. It was mad.
That is mad.
Yeah. So, and we had mixing desks and we learned all about TV. And then I came to Ireland and started working in the film business for a while.
That's cool.
Until I realised I wasn't Steven Spielberg.
Oh, little crossover into the Irish film business. When I was, what age was I? 21. And I worked in America for the summer as a chambermaid or a housekeeping. They called it housekeeping in a Holiday Inn in Virginia Beach with my friends. Nice. And it was, what a summer. It was absolutely brilliant. But we met some really fabulous girls from Dublin on that trip. And one of them, her dad was a film director. And when we came back to Ireland, we went to stay at their house and he had an Oscar. We all were like, woo, we got to hold the Oscar.
Now I'm trying to guess who it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm supposed to say it.
Yeah, you can tell me later.
Yeah. And then we went on set they were making, what was the movie? It was about Irish history and it was about 1917 and they had a replica of the GPO in Dublin.
Oh, Michael Collins.
Yes, Michael Collins. So we were on the set of Michael Collins. It was really cool. So were you working in that?
No, but my other half did.
Oh, that's funny.
That was just before I started working. So
this is where I think, him and I probably walked past each other. I just believe in like little lines of fate of people walking around the world. So we probably walked past each other when I was visiting the set and he was like doing proper work, not being a student-y, layabout. There you go. That's so funny. So what happened then? Like after you realised you weren't Steven Spielberg or famous female director, must think of one quick.
Catherine Bigelow.
Right, okay, Catherine Bigelow. So what happened next?
So yeah, I realised it wasn't really going. It's quite stressful working in film. It's really intense. There's a lot of egos. So it's an intense space and I wasn't loving it. I loved film, but I wasn't loving working in film. So I decided I needed to do something else. So I decided I wanted to set up a business, and I went and did a Start Your Own Business course, and I started a corporate gift company selling eco-friendly corporate gifts.
Oh, cool.
This was pre the last recession. So I enjoyed that. I learned an awful lot with that business. I was kind of thankful when the recession came along because I loved the marketing, but I hated every last thing other than the marketing. Everything, stock taking, ordering, designing hampers, sales. I had to do sales. I hated sales calls and I hated sales meetings.
Oh my goodness.
Everything I hated. So I was kind of relieved when it came along because the bigger clients like banks, even if they had the budget, they couldn't spend it because it would look crass to be spending money during that. So I decided that I would start teaching people what I'd learned about marketing, social media marketing, because that's all I knew at the time. And to be honest, it wasn't much marketing. I didn't know much marketing then. I've learned so much more since. I'd love to kind of go back to that old me and go, this is what you should have been doing.
Oh, it's so funny. It's such a crossover in our paths because when I realized I wanted a business, I was still working in the health service in my project management job, but I started my craft shop and I was rubbish, absolutely rubbish at selling crafts. And I liked making cards and scrapbooks, but didn't actually have a passion for crafts. But it was the social media marketing skills out of that started my business. And I, like you, oh my goodness, if I can go back to myself and hold my hand and teach myself how to do it properly.
But it's kind of the learning. It's a common story. I don't think it's just you and me. I do feel kind of sorry because when it was me, that was almost 11 years ago now. That was a new thing. Not many people were doing what I was doing, which was helping people with social media. Whereas now I see a lot of people taking the same path, but there's so much competition out there. And they're at that learning phase that I was at. So it's so much harder for people now. I think I just hit it lucky at the right time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I remember teaching people how to use Facebook, and it was a wide open market because nobody else was doing it at that time. So that's funny, isn't it? And there's lots of women who are trying to start businesses as social media managers as well, aren't there, at the minute, I think. And I don't know about you, Amanda, but I think sometimes there's a lack of, we were saying about strategy and stuff earlier and how you need to have your strategies to lead towards sales and not to be on all the different social media channels. Well, you didn't say that, but that's what I say.
I kind of would agree with you, or at least don't be out trying to do them all exceptionally well. Yeah,
and some of the people who are coming out as new social media managers and whoever's training them isn't talking to them about how to price and how to plan so that you actually make a living out of it. And that it's much better to focus on one or two platforms and not try and be saying that you do them all. So it is tough, I think.
It is really tough. And also, like, that's the thing. It's very easy now because I've been doing it so long and I've learned my own way along the path that I can know what you do to focus on sales. Whereas I know a lot of new social media managers out of the brand new to this. That's a whole learning thing they have to do. And I don't envy them that, because as much as I've loved the journey, I'm glad to be where I am now.
Me too. Yeah. In terms of sales as well and selling, like, you're saying you hated selling when you were in the gift basket.
Yes.
Was that what you would call eco gift baskets?
Yeah. Corporate gifts, but it was mostly kind of hampers of organic food. And we did baby clothes as well. So they were all kind of like, occasion type things.
Yeah, I quite like one of those organic food hampers, please. But I forgot what I was going to say now. I was going down a tangent there. I've just forgotten what it was. Never mind.
I wish I could help, but I forgot where we started.
Yes, you see, this is what happens when you invite somebody to your podcast that you can just talk to you all day. Oh dear. So now then, from that stage, what twists and turns have you had along the way? Because now you are focusing on helping people with strategy. So did you do social media management for a while?
For a very short amount of time, because I think it's to do it well for clients. It's a real art and you have to have real discipline, which maybe I have now, but it's really hard not to get carried away and do too much for clients. So the first few clients I had, I was absolutely, to quote The Apprentice, 500% in on their stuff, which meant I didn't have any time for business development. All I wanted to do was do a great job for them.